Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Last year, I made a video on freezing and opting out of secondary credit reporting agencies such as LexisNexis, Innovis, ChexSytems, FactorTrust, and many more. There's actually over 50 secondary reporting agencies that report your personal information. So today we're going to discuss the difference between opting out versus freezing, as well as a refresher on where to find this information, as well as different ways to opt out and freeze your information. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Before we discuss freezing versus opting out, I do want to make note that I have videos on this channel right now that shows you how to remove information from various secondary bureaus. I also have a compilation video that will show you this all in one guide. So if you want to remove information from things like ChexSytems, early warnings, LexisNexis, there is a video that will show you how to do that. Now, this is going to explain the difference between freezing versus opting out and some key points to remember. Now, a freeze refers to placing a security lock on your report at a particular bureau or a data furnisher. This freeze prevents anyone from accessing your personal information without your specific authorization, while opting out of a data furnisher means requesting that specific company to stop sharing your personal information with other entities. Effectively, it removes your data from their database, and it allows you to control who can share this information, as well as where this information can be stored. So the key points to remember: a freeze will apply to your report at a bureau or a data furnisher. This prevents the authorization to access that information, whereas opting out actually applies to specific data brokers that store your information, and this does not enable them to share your information with other places. So I've seen a lot of conflicting information as to if opting out or freezing actually does help you get information removed. For me, in my own personal opinion, I think yes, opting out and freezing information with data furnishers or bureaus is something you definitely want to do. Now, it can help you by limiting the amount of personal financial information that's shared. That's very important. You want to make sure that you reduce the amount of information that's given to all these companies freely. The only way that you can really do that is by freezing and opting out, which can potentially reduce the number of unsolicited credit card offers and marketing materials that you receive on a daily basis. Now, this will effectively protect your privacy and, of course, reduce spam, reduce unwanted calls, reduce unwanted mail, things like that. So to put it simply, when you opt out, you are essentially telling companies that provide your information, like banks, like credit card issuers, to not share your data with anybody else for marketing purposes. That is a huge benefit. You always want to do that. Now, when it comes to freezing is not a complete block. A security freeze does not apply to companies or collection agencies acting on behalf of such companies with which you have an existing account. So they're still able to request information in regards to your consumer report for the purpose of reviewing or collecting account information or collecting a balance on that account. So now that we understand the situations that would require us to opt out, freeze, or to even remove this information, let's talk about the list of consumer reporting agencies. I want you to know every single place that has your personal information, how you can find it, and what you can do to either opt out, freeze, or remove that information. Currently, we're looking at a list of consumer reporting companies, and this is on the CFPB website. As of 2025, it has been updated, and I'm going to link this in the description below. I want you to have access to this. This is a PDF that you can download. And at the table of contents, the introduction section lets you know who can see your consumer reports. You can click on that. It'll jump right down to that section. So it lets you know consumer reporting companies must follow legal restrictions, but generally provide consumer reports and risk scores to an array of businesses, including, and it goes over every single type of company that can get these reports, these risk scores, all this information on you. And that can be credit cards, homes, payday loans, personal, title, auto, student loans, employers, tenant screening. All of this information is here. It goes over that for you. But let's go back up to the table of contents. So in figure 1, know your data. There's 3 steps to this process. This is very important. You can get your report from these companies on this list, often for free, and that is under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. All consumer reporting companies are required to provide a copy of the information in the report, and many do so for free. Now, of course, we know the bigger nationwide companies, that is TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. But there are a lot of other companies that we need to be aware of. So in this process, step 1, you can request it from all of these places. Step 2 is review. Step 3 is dispute. You can dispute any piece of information that these places are reporting. You just need to make sure that you, 1, request it, and 2, review it to make sure that the information is accurate. And if it's not, you have the right to dispute it. Okay. And then for a couple examples, let's just go through a few of these. So let's go to nationwide consumer reporting companies. The big 3 that we know: Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. We know about those. But if we keep scrolling down, they have other sections like employment screening. So if you wanted to maybe know why your background checks were coming back a certain way, you can't get this job, this or that, you can actually take a look at all of these companies and you can see exactly who's reporting this information. You can request a report of this information and you can dispute this information. There's lots of places here. I've looked at Hire Right a few times. They have a free report that you can request and you can also dispute. All right. And you can keep going down and check anything. They have all types of one for tenants. If you had an issue with tenant screening, you can actually go here and remove information from these particular data furnishers. There's AmRent, Appfolio, Contemporary Information Corp, Experian Rent Bureau. All of these would be the reason why you're having issues with that, and you can dispute this information. And again, there's so many for deposit accounts and payment screenings. You guys know a couple of these. We talked about ChexSytems. There's a video on that about how to remove that information. We talked about early warnings. There's a video on that. If you have any issues, you can find the places that are reporting that here for personal property insurance. So the reason why I really wanted to go through this is so you understand there are so many data furnishers that you were unaware of. And if you're having a specific issue, find the furnisher that's reporting that information, request the report, and you can dispute it to completely remove that information. So again, I'm going to link this in the description. If you would like to download this, I recommend that you have it if you're having any issues here, and you can go through a similar process with any of the other secondary bureaus in order to get the information deleted. Now, I'm going to show you how to opt out of some major secondary bureaus as well as freezing the information step by step in the next part of the video. The first one that we're going to be looking at is LexisNexis, and this is going to be how to request a security freeze. Now, there's 2 separate options for this one. There's a security freeze and then there's opting out, and we are going to be going through both options. If we request a security freeze, the link is in the description if you want to just click on it and you can follow along for this part of the video. The first thing that you need to do is request your security freeze online. You'll see the same option here and you'll click on it. Once you click on this option, you can fill out all of your personal information here, and then they're going to ask you to upload documents. Now, it could be your driver's license or another form of documentation from category 1 or from category 2. It can be your social, your passport, your military identification card, as well as a recent cable, a utility bill, phone statement, bank or credit card statement, a rental lease. Anything in this list you can use, and then you can place that security freeze. All you have to do is submit the information here. So it's a very straightforward, very simple process. It doesn't take you very long. And if you decided to lift this freeze, because a lot of companies will use LexisNexis in order to identify you, you can call and you can have it lifted immediately. I also want to mention two other options that you have. You can also request a security freeze by mail if you couldn't do it online. You can also request your security freeze by phone if you would rather talk to someone first. And then these are pretty much all the ways that we're going to do a freeze or opt out of all of these particular companies. But I just want you to see all of the different options that you do have to freeze and to lift later on if you need to do that. Now, here is the LexisNexis opt-out form. I'm just going to zoom in here. Now, this is also going to be in the description. All right. You can click on that. It'll take you to this same exact page. You'll give the reason why you don't want your information to be seen, and you can choose, I do not want my information shared. I am a public elected official, so on and so forth. Then you can select that option or other if you want to type something in, put in your explanation. Now, I just want to overstate this. Just because you opt out of LexisNexis does not mean that companies cannot view that report. Like I said in the beginning, they can still look at the report if they have verifiable information to show that they have the right to look at this. In order to collect something, in order to review a piece of information, they can get this report. So if you want to actually get the information removed, I have a video that you can watch. It will show you step by step how to remove information from LexisNexis. Now, after you select your reason, it will ask for your information here, your first name, last name, your social. You'll add a person on the next screen. Then it's going to ask you to fill out all of your identifiable information, your address, things like that, your phone number. Once that's all completed, you'll get confirmation that you have opted out. And once again, if you want to opt back in, you have that option. You can either do it by mail, you can give them a phone call, or you can also request that online. Okay, let's move on to the next company. The next company that we're looking at is Innovis. There's a video that shows you step by step how to remove information from Innovis. But even if you remove all derogatory information, you still may want to opt out so this information cannot be shared for marketing purposes. So it lets you know right here, consumer reporting agencies may supply marketing lists to creditors and insurers, which use these lists to make offers in order to give you things. So if you want to avoid solicitation and phone calls, this is a great way to do that. Now, you can do this online by going to opt-out request form, optoutprescreen.com. You can also call here or you can mail. Now, if we go to the opt-out pre-screen, this is what you're met with. optoutprescreen.com. It gives you all the information here, and you can click here to opt in or you can click here to opt out. Now, for most of us, we don't want our information shared. And when you do decide to opt out, like right here electronically, it lets you know you're opting out for 5 years. All right. It's only for 5 years. If you want to permanently opt out, you have to do this by mail. All right. So you can decide which one that you would like to do. If you would like to do it online, it's only for 5 years. You fill out your information, first name, last name, social, date of birth, basically all the same things that we already discussed, your security code here, and then you confirm. Now, this can take a little while to process, but once it is done, they will not be able to share your data or your information. The next company that we're looking at is FactorTrust. The link will also be in the description if you want to opt out of this company. Now, FactorTrust is a consumer reporting agency that provides consumer reports to third-party companies for the purpose of credit risk assessment and other purposes as permitted by law. Now, you can request a copy of this online here, and you can also have them mail you a hard copy. Now, this is a TransUnion company. Now, you can place the security freeze on here if you click here, and that security freeze is referred to as a freeze because it prevents lenders from checking this report and giving them more control over information and when they can access it. When you opt out, this will not allow them to once again share your information for credit or insurance or pre-screen you for offers that you have not asked them to offer you. And when you click here, you'll be brought to the opt-in or opt-out. Once again, electronic opt-out is for 5 years. If you want to opt out permanently, then you can opt out by mail. All right. So we're going to close this one and let's just go back to the page for the freeze. And you can click here and it's pretty much the exact same thing. Freeze, manage PIN. You can do this all here online. Very easy for you to access this information, and link will be in the description. ChexSytems will be the next company. There is a note here that I want you to pay attention to. After submitting an opt-out request to ChexSytems Inc., you may continue to receive marketing material from companies that do not use ChexSytems. They're just letting you know that not every company will be using their information. It could be multiple companies, which is why you want to opt out of all of these. And if you want your information to be excluded permanently, you may print, complete, sign, and return the ChexSytems permanent opt-out electronic form. That would be the way to get rid of it completely, but you can also submit this request online if you would prefer. And then our other methods are also here. You can give them a phone call. It is up to you to decide which one you would prefer. Now, here is a copy of the ChexSytems permanent opt-out electronic form. Just mail it with attention to, and then you'll be able to permanently opt out. Now, if you're asking me, does opting out remove the information? Will you be able to open bank accounts? No, you need to actually go in there and request the information be deleted. If you would like to do that, please refer to the ChexSytems removal video. The next company that we're looking at is Clarity Services Inc., and this is part of Experian, same as FactorTrust, but it's part of TransUnion. So with this one, it is a 5-year opt-out. These companies will all operate the exact same way. If you want to opt out permanently, you will need to mail that. But you can enter all your information in here and submit, and this will opt you out of Clarity for any pre-screened offers that you did not request. Now, the last company that we're going to be looking at is Teletrack, and this is the Equifax version of what FactorTrust and what Clarity is for Experian. So this is a consumer reporting agency that provides information to third parties for the purposes of credit and risk assessment. You can request a freeze. Once again, same exact thing, first name, last name, enter all your information, and you can choose to place a temporary freeze, a lift, and if you want to remove that information permanently, you'll have to mail it in. Now, you can also do an investigation if you found any information is inaccurate, and you can get that deleted, but you can also opt out here as well, and you'll want to follow the steps for opting out. Now, if you have previously opted out and you desire to have your name, your address included in pre-screen list offers by Teletrack, then you can also call here and they will be able to assist you with that request. All right. So if you want to read up on more information, I suggest going back to the CFPB consumer listing if you want to get more details about all of these companies, but they pretty much will operate the exact same way, collect the same information, and just share it over a wide spectrum of companies. I highly recommend that you opt out of most of these, at least not to have any third-party offers or mail that you don't want. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully this information was valuable to you. Once again, there are so many other companies that you can look at opting out from and trying to freeze information. And if you want to know more about that, please refer back to that guide. It has everything that you can possibly need in order to figure out where your information is being reported, how you can delete the information, opt out, or freeze it. If you guys have any more questions, please leave it in the comments below, and you have a wonderful day.